And that's where she was at, and I'm like, all right, you know, reset, what do you wanna do? I'm gonna go with you. She's like, Mom, I'm good, I just feel better being at home. I understand, you know, we're still trying to kind of figure out what's going on. I get it. They are doing Stuco, and that was one of her big things. Even
remote should be on student council.
I'm sorry. Sorry, you're on my deaf ear.
I'll run to the other side. The mask doesn't help.
I know. Thank you so much. We're good to go. Yep. No, they looks.
We'll wait till you get home.
Thank you.
Look at pizza's moving. Your mask, your mic on.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. The meeting of the Gardner Board of Zoning Appeals was called to order at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, by Robert Case. I'd like to have everybody stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Board members present. Scott Broden.
Here.
Eric Ford. Here. Adriana Meaner.
Here. Casey Deaton here.
Sorry.
Steve McNair here.
Joe Gardner. Joe Gardenhire.
He's no longer on. Yeah, he resigned.
My apologies.
Eric Hansen's not here.
Regular agenda items. First one is election of officers. There are two positions, the officer chairman and vice chairman. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Scott Bowden for chairman.
Second.
Can we call for a vote?
Sure.
Eric Ford? All right, we just call for a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
all those
general
in
vote,
favor.
sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, Scott Bowden is now the office of a chair. Would you like to continue this meeting, Mr. Bowden?
We'll need a nomination for vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Adriana.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mater. Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against, any abstentions? Vice chair is deputy, or vice chair is Mater. I don't know, where do we go by on this?
Mater. It's Mater. You did
Okay,
it.
item number 2 on our agenda is variance request for 15415 Lake Road 3, Gardner, Kansas, BZA-20-01. Hold on just a second. We don't have the a consent agenda for the minutes on the agenda. So
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the October 22nd, 2019 BZA meeting.
Second.
thank you. I have a motion to accept the minutes from Commissioner Mader and a second from Commissioner McNear. Any further comments on the motion? Okay, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Minutes pass 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Deaton. Now, Bob, we can get to regular agenda item number 2.
Thank you. Well, we have our first variance request of the year 2020, and our last one was basically back in 2017. So item 1 is BZA item 20-01-4-15415 Lake Road, number 3 Street. As you can see from your monitors, this is the location of the property, and we also had letters go out around 200 feet surrounding the subject property. This is the survey of the property with the existing house shown. And this slide shows the existing house with the proposed addition. It's basically on the back side of the house, which could be a little confusing to you guys because the front side of the house is facing the lake for lakefront properties. And they do meet all the current side yard setbacks. The variance is, again, for a rear yard setback variance from 25 feet required to 15 feet. This is a picture of the house with the addition outlined. Did your guys' screens just go off? Okay. Hopefully that won't keep going. Again, the property owner is looking to improve their property. I actually went out there, spoke with one of the neighbors, and also the petitioner has several letters of recommendation from the surrounding property owners as well. The variance request, the request for a variance may be granted in all such case upon a finding by the board that all of the following conditions have been met. And one, the variance request is unique to the R1 single-family residential district because the district does not necessarily take into consideration lakefront communities. 2, the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners. We've had several letters from the neighbors that surround this property in support of the variance request. The strict application of the provision of the zoning regulations for which the variance is requested will constitute unnecessary hardship or practical difficulties upon the property owner represented in the application. And the applicant is wishing to improve her property and would not be able to do so within the current standards of the Land Development Code. Again, because it does not address lakefront properties, and it is the staff opinion that this does constitute an unnecessary hardship. The variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare. And the variance, we agree with all the statements. 5, the granting of the variance would not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of this code. The variance request will not adversely affect the general spirit and intent of the Land Development Code. And I don't know what happened to 6 on there. So, and 6, in addition to talking to several neighbors within this area that was annexed into the city back in 1997, they had mentioned that prior to agreeing to a voluntary annexation of their properties into the city of Gardner, the mayor and also the then city manager had basically said if they need to do improvements to their properties, even though a lot of them are non-conforming, that the city would work with them. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approval of BZA 20-01 a rear yard setback variance to permit the addition of an attached two-car garage with additional living space above 15 feet from the rear property line. I recommend a motion after review of application BZA 20-01, a request for a rear yard setback variance from section 17.07.040 detached house suburban 25-foot rear building placement to allow for a 15-foot rear yard setback at 15415 Lake Road number 3 Street. The Board of Zoning Appeals approves the request based on the findings found in the staff report dated August 25th, 2020, and based on the review criteria contained in section 17.03.090B of the city's land development code.
Thank you. Is the landowner here? And if you are, you can make a statement now if you want. You don't need to. Did you want to make a statement? It's up to you.
I guess, does anybody have any questions?
If you want to make a
Oh,
statement,
sorry.
you'd have to come to the mic and state your name and address, please.
I'm Susie Townley, 15415 Lake Road 3.
Thank you.
I guess the only thing that I would have, because I really spelled it out as best I could in the application, is does anybody have any questions for me?
And does anybody have any questions for her? Nope. No, we do not.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll go with any discussion, and in this case, I won't go person by person. I'll just ask if anybody has any discussion points. Commissioner Ford.
I have a question for staff. Would it be planning commission? Could we bring up looking, like, pursuing to see if we could do a special zoning for the lake based on, lot sizes and issues and things like that we could do at that time, or would that be Board of Zoning Appeals? I wouldn't think it would be that.
No, we've actually have discussed this in the past at creating a special district for all lakefront properties, especially if we keep on, if we're pursuing any new annexations
Right.
of those properties around the lake. So again, the staff has talked about that in the past, actually the past year. We just haven't had the time to pull together something. Probably have meetings out, public meetings out at the lake to discuss the matter with some of those property owners. But we will be actively pursuing this in the near future, I believe.
Okay. That was the only question I had.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
There's just maybe a comment to just add on to that. I understand where Commissioner Ford might be coming from as like a special zoning district, but they're already in R1. And there's a process to follow, which has been followed tonight, going through the BZA process, because this is, it's a regulation by the Kansas state statute to go through each question, and they've answered each question appropriately. And I understand, this might be a special unique area, which we have to process through BZA to work through. But I think, I would just maybe caution staff, or as staff is looking to have another district, I don't know what else you'd have besides R1, because it's zoned appropriately for single family housing. And if you, I would just caution from my perspective that as the meetings come together, if you want to create a special zoning district, you've already got R1. I don't know what you could say R1 Lake. Just throwing things out there, because the process is working. So something to keep in mind is that might be looked at in the future.
I more meant if we have certain setbacks that have to be for the back of the yard based on how far it is away from the lake. You have the front access and so forth to the house. If it needed to have a special district, I was just bringing it up to see if it needed to be discussed.
I could also mention that we've had several other, I've looked at other communities that do have lake developments within their municipal boundaries, and a lot of them actually do have a special district for lakefront properties. A lot of the properties out at the lake right now, as they exist, would not even fit into R1.
And that is a correct statement, but once again, I just don't want to circumvent the process that we have to make a an appeal just to try and dovetail every possible scenario that you won't be able to cover. So just some food for thought. You're right. I've grown up in a community as well with a lakefront property, and they do zone differently and allow for a different process. But I just don't want to circumvent what we are required to by the state of Kansas, when and if necessary.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you. Yeah, no, this is I'm good with the application also. So okay.
Anybody? And I know the planning commission prior had asked, and the city brought up doing the special district. I think it's worth looking at as a planning commission at that point when it comes in front of us. We can say, no, we're not interested in what they're
Absolutely.
bringing forward. But there's-
Definitely worth
in my
taking
opinion,
a
it's
look.
not any reason not to look at it. So, and I have nothing on this. So if we don't have any further discussion, I'll accept the motion.
After review of application BZA-20-01, a request for a rear yard setback variance from section 17.07.040, detached house, suburban, 25 feet rear building placement to allow for 15-foot rear yard setback at 15415 Lake Road 3 Street. The Board of Zoning Appeals approves the request based on the findings found in the staff report dated August 25, 2020, and based on the review criteria contained in section 17.03.090B of the city's land development code.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a first motion by Commissioner McNair and a second by Commissioner Ford. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. All right, we have no further agenda items, so I'd accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by McNair to adjourn, a second by Ford. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any against? We are adjourned.